from Asta. He wants blood, and he will get the Starboy Ball easy way. Or he wants a deja vu, actually for his ADC, as he gets late and open up with an extended signal arrow. New is the kill rate. That's gonna get the kill. There is the 3-man shockwave, but the 1-point link ultimate, explosive cast, plus the Howling Gale. That is a double kill. Sarah will...
And right, Len will just be one shot after that. Blizzard eyeing Kanako here, iconic as well. This will be a triple.
Good evening everyone and welcome back to the Lenovo LCL 2017 Spring Term Challenge. What do you know? We'll be your casters for the last game of the last match. I am Vulcan and joining with me is my co-caster, the Arctic.
Almost
there.
But yeah, I mean, again, UPD, let's go ahead and do a recap for those that have just tuned in. UPD Liman absolutely dominated that game earlier against St. Louis University. Of course, as our usual stories go, it's all about vengeance going into these best of 2 series, whether or not the losing team in that first game could make a comeback, or if it only makes the winning team a lot more happier if they go for a 2-0. So let's go ahead and check out the bans here. Straight off the bat for SLU and UPD, Vladimir Jace got a lot of emphasis on, a lot of respect for Iconic.
Yeah, in the top lane. But I gotta say, before we get to that, I mean, it's not just the players who are winning right now. You yourself can win yourself a mystery gift. And going on to the winners, the 4th league winner is Val Rainer Escader Medala. Congratulations to you. You won yourself a mystery gift. The question was, what is the first Drake that appeared in Game 1 of UPD versus SLU? The answer is, of course, the Infernal Drake.
And of course, for the 5th league winner, question was, who was the first champion that Thresh hooked in Game 1? Of course, the answer is Nami, and the winner is Zyman Cruz. Of course, congratulations to all our winners. You will be receiving your mystery gift within 5 working days.
So right now, we'll be going into the second game of the last match. SLU, they did try their best to play the games correctly, but it all came down to the pressure that UPD was able to establish in the early phase of the game, which was very impactful coming into the late game.
There we go. Yeah, actually. And we'll just have to see if this is a continuing trend. Oh, Sona. Sorry, but yeah, we'll just have to see if it's a continuing trend, because UPD Limon is just on fire at this point. If anything, what I really like about UPD is actually they started just this LCL season strong, but what I'm actually much more surprised by is that may ini-improve pa sila as the games progress. So definitely a huge contender for the champion spot here. But yeah, let's go ahead and check out. Napahinto ako actually, guys. Sona being picked up by SLU for Savvy right here. I highly doubt, maybe, potentially, if this will be a flex into the mid, maybe not. Pero, I mean, logically speaking, yeah, there we go. So we have the Cassiopeia being hovered over for SLU. That may actually result to a lock-in as well. Lock-in indeed. So wow, actually. So both sides actually showing a sign of surprise. Of course, that is going to be Sona for St. Louis University for Savvy. And at the same time, we're going to be seeing the Jax being unleashed by Iconic here. So it's actually interesting because, funny enough, UP's South Luzon counterpart, UPLB, Daigo as well uses Jack. So, tingnan natin, baka pakitaan ni Iconic si Daigo sa pagkakataon ko. We'll just have to see who's the better Jaxes in this case.
You just went in a level of personal right now. But I gotta say though, if it comes to a top laner, I'm gonna hand it to Iconic. For the way that he plays was more team-oriented wise. But let's see against a Renekton. Renekton actually will come up top against a Jax in terms of matchup. But if the Renekton does not play smart or effectively, not even managing the Fury Bar, he will lose bad against the Jax. But naturally, the sustain-wise, the Renekton will be really pushing out the Jax. But enough of the top lane, but it's more interesting right now in the bottom lane. We're going to be seeing more of a same style ADC. This time it would be Legolas on the Jhin.
Yeah, I mean, Jhin paired with a Sona especially, so there's somewhat a level of vulnerability with these two champions. Like, Jhin in himself is somewhat vulnerable, pair that off with a Sona at the same time. Very squishy champion. In fact, one of the squishiest supports out there. But ladies and gents, let's head into the action. Into Summoner's Rift we go for our third matchup, our final game, not to mention, for the day between St. Louis University of the North Luzon Conference and UPD Liman of the Metro, figuring out my direction, that's East, there we go, Metro East Conference. Talagang inisip ko pa yung mapa sa isip ko, like which conference are they in again? But yeah, that's gonna be Metro East peeps. So of course, if you're watching via Facebook or YouTube, mag-ingay kayo sa ating chat. Who do you guys support? Do you guys support our North Luzon peeps, SLU? Or do you guys want to see the peeps from Metro East go undefeated for this Interconference series?
And let's see if SLU will stick to their famous type of playstyle where they make this to a 1-2-1. Not a clean sweep, but let's see right now. Judging by how their composition is right now, I gotta say SLU's draft looks a lot better.
Definitely.
Compared to game 1.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more well-rounded. I mean, despite the vulnerability of that bot lane with the Jin and Sona, at the same time though, Sona, she does have her sustain, does have a certain level of shield. Again, I'd have to peg it on KRX because he somewhat didn't show up in game 1 when he was supposed to. So hopefully he'll kind of learn from the mistakes of game 1, kind of make a comeback, show a little bit more strength, a little bit more presence within the first 10 minutes, because that was something that was clearly lacking into St. Louis University, and that actually contributed to why they experienced that stomp in game 1.
Not to mention, it's also the same way for KRX. He's a Lee Sin, same as Lumia is on a Kha'Zix. They do have the same type of playstyle where they have to dictate as early as they can who is going to be winning in the jungle. But at the early phase of the game, I think that it's going to be the Kha'Zix not doing so well against the Lee Sin.
I actually find it interesting. Actually, both the Cassiopeia and the LeBlanc go for the Corrupting Potion right away. And it definitely makes sense because they do have that single target to really make the most out of the damage that comes with the benefits of having Corrupting Potion. So we'll just have to see if they maximize that. But it looks like Antares has to be careful. He's actually somewhat on the lower spectrum here in terms of his mana. What will be able to regain a little bit because of the Corrupting Potion. So has to be careful.
There's a spam ability. Antares has not much of an allowance with those skill shots, but I gotta say, if Antares makes him look so vulnerable to the point that his mana is 0, you gotta expect some visits in the mid lane. But seeing some trade-offs happening, it would still be a Berserk coming on top because he does have more mana and a bit of more health. And both of them actually lost their charges, but we might see that in the long run, Antares will have to recall first.
And what the tricky part here is that even though technically Antares has that
look at that aggression coming into the mid lane. Neve wanted to get some action, but instead burned the summoner spell of Antares on that flash.
Definitely a very definitely worth as far as that rotation there from Neve. You know, didn't necessarily translate to a kill, but sometimes even a summoner spell down makes the biggest difference. Definitely leaves a lot more vulnerability for Antares in that mid lane. But here we go though.
Oh, we're looking for some blood, but I think Savvy would still stick to his ADC. And Legolas, he's kind of fearless. He's still full HP. He's not going to be that much afraid. He does have sustaining support like Sona. But the problem is, if ever KRX, we always tell him that he has to dictate in the lane phase. But will he have an easy time in the mid lane? It's a LeBlanc. In the bottom lane, it's a Lulu. So this is something that's putting KRX in a bad spot again in game 2, where he does not have enough spotlight.
And what's interesting here is that because Veer revealed himself in that bot lane, if you notice guys, Vince medyo nakapush sa top lane part. That being said, it gives him much more confidence to just kind of continue that shove that he has on Iconic right here.
And not to mention, we're going to be seeing KRX taking some resources away from Veer. I think dive on the Jax is a bit too risky. Not to mention, Wire is something that you don't really need, but right now in terms of trade-offs, like I said, the Renekton will have an upper hand if he does play it correctly, leaving Iconic to hug his turret.
There we go. So, yeah, it looks like UP did Iconic particularly. I'm actually somewhat proud of Iconic in a way because, well then technically I guess it does make sense because he's on the Jax, but the point that I'm trying to make here is that for most of the games for Iconic, we usually see him kind of push out to the lane. So, but look at this though, SLU, like this is what I'm talking about. A lot of squishiness coming from both Legolas and Savvy by running with Jin and Sonar respectively. So they'll definitely have to be a little bit more careful, especially since Bloods are just gonna harass them all day. Just the pure range difference alone makes it very tricky indeed.
And not to mention, if ever Vince keeps pushing Iconic towards his turret, he does reach to level 6. I think that opens up for a bottling gang, not to mention seeing how Legolas is having a hard time, and we can see that Iconic burning his teleport just to return to lane, and leaving Vince really capitalizing on his spikes.
Definitely. And, you know, I'm not really as surprised because technically Iconic definitely does need to kind of just farm up within the earlier phases of the game. And it'll definitely become a beast.
Here it comes. KRX trying to take the bottom lane. He does waste his flash for no reward, but seeing that Savvy is very low on health, but on the mid lane, Beer makes a visit onto a Taras and gives a devastating first blood onto the mid laner of UPD.
That was very painful indeed. And yeah, UPD, I mean, both sides actually trying to make a play here. SLU unfortunately wasn't as successful as UPD was in that mid lane right there, but still, very good start for UPD in mind. Whether or not this will be a consistency as far as the trend that we've been seeing when they have a good lead at the start, we'll just have to see if that translates.
The lead is going to be very helpful for Berserk. On the LeBlanc, not to mention, getting the first blood early this on, not to mention, not any members of the teams are willing to give a kill, but the fact that the first blood went to the mid lane of Berserk, expect this kind of rotation and going in for a dive. Legolas is doing a heap of trouble, but instead trades off for a kill.
Fortunately, Neem overestimating that a little bit. I like that trap placed right over that ward, just so that Vince upon his teleport would get trapped. There's no other way to put it. We'll get trapped. But yeah, that being said, both teleports down for top laners right now, so I guess the bot lane can breathe a little bit more easier now that they wouldn't have to worry about any top lane response.
Oh boy, and Taras not investing on any vision!
Oh man, wow, Veer! This is what I'm talking about. I've been preaching how Veer is actually an excellent Kha'Zix player in my opinion, and it's definitely showing. If SLU doesn't respect that, then I wouldn't be surprised if Veer has one of the best KDAs in this game, aside from Berserk.
Oh man, speaking of KDAs, going on to the mid lane. 201 was the translate to. That's a lot of gold, and let's see what Berserk will go shopping right now. Hex, Tech, Revolver. Oh, taking the Cutlass. Going for more of a split pushing power. Not to mention extra 80 in life steal for the sustain.
Hextech Gunblade, definitely a good item on LeBlanc. If anything, probably one of the go-to items for LeBlanc right now.
A huge price that Antares has to pay for his negligence and vision. SLU really has to shape up, but we can see that Vince is actually doing pretty well in the top lane, but because of that bad teleport play, he did give up a lot of pressure that he was putting against that Jack.
That's a great point that you brought up. Lalo na, if you guys noticed earlier, up pa si Vince kanina by like 7 to 9 CS on Iconic. So because of that teleport not really translating to anything, it just puts them back on even playing field. If anything, Iconic benefits from that heavy.
Yeah.
If any, I'm actually surprised that he didn't cancel it.
Oh boy. Veer closing into the bottom lane. KRX. Veer makes the first leap onto Savvy. He gets taken out by Veer. He gets dragged right towards the turret. KRX trying to finish up Veer, but the shield from the Lulu is so annoying, but it will be Curtis call for Veer, and now Neem will be sidestepping away from the ultimate of the Jin.
So ultimately a 3-for-1 in favor of UP Diliman. UP Diliman is still definitely poising themselves at wanting to settle this at a 2-0. Berserk now 3-0-1 on this LeBlanc. Very, very scary.
Very scary. I gotta say, the way that Antares is playing is reckless. You see Veer playing on a Kha'Zix. Why don't you put your vision down? That is direct disrespect to Veer, knowing that he is very proficient with that Kha'Zix, but you also gotta respect KRX on that Lee Sin. I mean, he did take the first blue buff in the first game, but seeing how he's he's more prominent right now. He's being more aggressive. Both of these junglers, they need to be feared. You gotta put vision, and if you don't, you're gonna end up like Antares. 0-3-0.
Yes. That's something, again, I can't really blame Antares here because ultimately Antares is in a very sticky situation going up against LeBlanc. I know it's kind of cliche, but again, I have to peg it on KRX. Like I mentioned, I was really hoping that he'd show up within the first 10 minutes of the game, translate his game into potential kills to propel SLU to a lead, but it didn't really work out for him.
A steal is up for grabs, but UPD pulling away the Drake. There is Berserk for the added pressure. KRX will be forced to back away.
Yes, and that's an Infernal Drake, ladies and gentlemen. So not to mention, that's going to be much more painful. I think that, if you're going to look at UPD's composition, technically all of them dish out damage.
Again with the Infernal Drake for UPD. That's what I like about the RNG. You see an Infernal Drake in the first game of the Drake, you expect that both of these teams will try at anything to take it down. So right now, KRX going in all in onto Neat, wasting the Dragon Rage. Should have been for Blizzard, and see, look at the result. KRX forced to back away. Bit of a trade-off going on, but what was the point of all of that? Veer is left to gank the bottom lane now. KRX has no resources left, no tools. He does have the flash, but for what? Nothing.
Exactly. And, oh man, I don't know. That was a little bit too forced to try to make things happen. Here comes the current call.
Oh boy, gets cancelled by the Polymorph. Berserk and Veer going for that bloodthirsty dive. Blizzard takes down Legolas, and Sappy will be giving Berserk his 401 KDA.
Dude, that was actually... I don't know what to make of that. That Polymorph... that's like ultimate disrespect right there.
Legolas thinking that the current call will not even be cancelled. I mean, that's something you have to take account for. You are facing against a Lulu support, one of the most banned supports right now, one of the highest priority picks. You leave that open, someone's going to pick it up, and this is the consequence you pay. Let's say you do ban out some supports paid by Neep, but that's not going to change the fact that these prominent supports like Lulu will make such an impactful play and deny KRX of his ganks and kills. But I'm gonna hand it to Vince. Look at that. Look the way he plays. He tries so hard. And he knows that when he sees an opportunity to at least put some added pressure to any lane, he goes for it. He does have a KDA close to Iconic, but that's just because Vince tries to rotate to the mid lane, to the bot lane, but it's kind of difficult knowing that you do have a LeBlanc in the mid lane and a Lulu.
So yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of disappointed in a way because I was definitely expecting St. Louis University to come into this game with a lot more resolve to try to, you know, with a lot of not just the resolve but also the proactivity, the mechanics to just go up to par against UPD after that first game. Because, kumbaga, if you go through such a stomp in the first game, there's no other direction that you want to go to try to make a comeback. Pero based on what I'm seeing so far, this might unfortunately be the same thing that we saw in the game 1 earlier. It might potentially be a stomp, but we'll have to see. Because if you're gonna look at UPD's composition nga naman, it's actually straightforward na if you allow these players to... Oh, hold on top right there though.
Savage, that's crucial ultimate, but here comes the Curricle Blizzard. Will be stunned by Vince, but a teleport response will be coming in shortly. We can do see that Antares fails that blast cone, getting delayed more, and Iconic in the middle, trying to zone out the enemies. But Antares goes in the flash, misses a lot, misses all his ultimates. Now Berserk sees this opening, goes deep, takes down Antares, and next thing you know, Vince is down. That's double kill, makes that a kill for Iconic, 3-0. SLU pays the heavy price, missing 2 ultimates.
That is like 2-12 right now on that score where things are just spiraling way out of control. Once again for UP Diliman, he adds another kill, make that 2-13. UP Diliman is on fire at this point, and I don't think St. Louis University has... I just don't see the heart anymore in this game. That it's almost like they've resigned themselves to the resolve that... I don't know, it's somewhat sad in a way.
But man, I really did hope that SLU will have a fighting chance.
Indeed, yeah.
Drafting was looking pretty good, but the fact that Antares giving the first block to Berserk opens up his opportunity to the bottom lane. And see, the consequences, Antares can't even fight back. Berserk is just toying with him. He's gone like 7-0-2, lost the Hextech Gunblade, it's already finished. But here's the thing. First blood onto Berserk, he gets a second kill onto the bottom lane, plus an assist. That's plus a couple already. Vision was not invested in the mid lane.
And you know what's interesting? If you're gonna look at UPD's composition, it almost borderlines on solo queue. So that's kind of what's sad actually, considering, like you mentioned, SLU actually has a really good comp. I'd say, for me personally, even though the bot lane is squishy, they have a somewhat well-rounded composition if you're gonna compare it to UPD. So, I don't know. Like I mentioned, I'm somewhat disappointed by this turnout here. I was really hoping that SLU would take advantage of the composition that they had against UPD.
Oh, Vince overextending, pops his dominance plus the flash and dive, but you're not gonna get away from that, buddy. He gets taken down, and Berserk, perfect KDA so far, 802, and now SLU picking such a late game composition. Not to mention they have two champions that fall off very heavily into the late game, and Iconic right now is just pushing as a Jack. He's very happy with that, but something went wrong for SLU, and that was it. Vision was not invested. Gear was on the counter, same as KRX was on the Lee Sin. He did try to make a play to the bottom lane, but that's because there was that annoying Lulu.
That's actually, I'm actually glad that you brought that up. Kasi tingnan na natin, actually, so yung kill ni Berserk kanina, if you guys noticed, he actually got a legendary kill. So, again, Sona being squishy plus the lead that Berserk had, it just spells TROUBLE for SLU. Trouble, trouble, trouble. So, I don't know, 2-18 right now. It's very sad.
Looks like Iconic is a bit reckless. He does have the confidence, pops his flash, and he does have the counter strike off. Here comes the current call. Will he make it out alive? It's a minute game right now. 2 more bullets left, and there's the shield from the Lulu. And that would be...
Oh, that was dangerous. Escaping with Slither.
Chug that potion down. Very dangerous indeed. And right now, Legolas has no sort of mana. He can retaliate, but he does have the passive from the 4th bullet. Oh, would this be Berserk's game-breaking perfect game? But let's see, he is still willing to stick to that perfect KDA.
Looks like we'll be translating that into yet another dragon for the game. Again, objectives, not a single one taken from SLU. UPD Liman, I mean, I don't know. I just don't know how to put it at this point. But yeah, UPD Liman, let's go ahead and assess this though. UPD Liman, like you mentioned, Vision was such a crucial component here for SLU. And there we go, so another kill. But yeah, like I was mentioning, early game, kasi I gotta hand it naman to SLU, they tried to make plays, pero again, you have to kind of set up in order for those to translate into anything positive. They tried making plays, but then again, they weren't able to couple the basics. First of all, the Vision game wasn't as strong. Second, there were somewhat half-hearted plays in a way. Plus the fact that on top of that, objectives, not a single one taken. I don't know. In Constellation, they were able to take a tower. So at least that's a step up.
UPD just wrecking the base of SLU. No mercy being shown. Renekton right now falls off very heavily. Jax does have the Tiamat plus the Trinity Force. Vince did try to make some presence in the top lane. Terrible teleport plays, not to mention the bot lane did not dictate when they could add extra pressure, but looking at the game flow so far, I gotta say Antares really gave the start, the snowball of Berserk, from the first blood to the bottom lane, and again to the mid lane. When you give LeBlanc 3-0, 3-0, 1, I mean, you're just asking for it.
Yeah.
You're just asking for just that, not the fact that Antares did invest 0 on wards. Ooh. You're just asking for the fact that Veer will make your visit help Berserk snowball even more.
Run, Forrest, run! There you go. Iconic actually managing to escape right there, but looks like members of UPD Liman will actually be coming.
Flash in! Counter-strike will connect onto Vince. There comes the wild growth from the Lulu. Iconic though, still sticking into it. He does get shot down by Vince. That will be a trade-off, but look at Blizzard. He's going in. He's still sticking it onto Antares. He has to back away. The current call is not landing at all. The fort will connect onto Blizzard, but no kill will happen. Vince kinda misjudged that wall. Does not connect his slice and dice.
Oh, but looks like they're not done just yet. Legendary for Berserk right here. Flash is gone and is able to escape though. it looks like Veer actually still very much healthy. Could jump onto Legolas and does exactly that. Though, but of course UPD will have to play a little bit more safer for the meantime. Those are very low. Not to mention, like I mentioned, these are squishy. There's a lot of squishiness from UPD. Although still the damage output speaks for itself. And oh, Rift Herald!
Wow, bit of an overkill in the mid lane though. Oh boy, 5 members going into the mid lane with a Rift Herald.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some kind of sound effect for Rift Herald right there.
There it is, the final clash of the group stages. See it here right now, UPD going in strong, diving those 2 turrets. The Nexus is exposed, nothing to use. SLU's objectives, tools, everything taken away. UPD ends the group stages with a very clean slate.
And there you go.
Congratulations to UPD for, I mean, a clean score. That's a 2-0. That's like 3 points already. So, I mean, wow, what a game it was. Moving on to the semifinals, I think they're going to perform exceptionally well in par with the other teams who did make it to the semifinals.
Again, like I mentioned, this is like the dream matchup for me. JBL versus UPD Liman as they proceed. But of course, we have to hand it to SLU, to DLSU, and to University of Caloocan. They played their hearts out in this group. But of course, ultimately, UPD emerged victorious in this case.
And now, looking at the damage dealt, wow, coming in from Blizzard, that's a lot of damage. But right now, guys, after this segment, I will have some short interview with Berserk, the mid laner of UPD.
Hi guys.
Hi, Berserk.
here. Hello.
Nice to meet you, man. I'm Vulcan. So, how do you feel about the your team, UPD, moving step closer to the finals and represent the Philippines to the LICC?
It feels really great, but I don't wanna get ahead of myself and say na we're gonna go through win the whole thing. We make sure that we're on top of practices, no? And I think that's why we've made it this far. We really help ourselves, push ourselves even further, improve as a team, as individuals. And
What's your secret?
our secret? I'll tell you later.
Okay, that's gonna be my secret. So, I mean, after that, I mean, one step closer, that's something that you have to really savor. But I also gotta ask, how do you think of the competitive level of LCL? Is it from last year's split?
From last year's split, I think it's a mix of both because there were a lot of roster changes.
Yeah.
No, for TIP, for example, the mid laner si Janine, he's not with the team anymore. Pero on the average, I think the overall team play in LCL is starting to elevate. No, people are starting to get better, starting to adjust more to the meta. Yeah.
And how were you able to achieve a clean score like 9-0? Not all the teams, you're the first team to actually do that. But how was it? How did you do it?
I don't know. I just played to my strengths as LeBlanc. LeBlanc is very strong, a strong bully early. Pero
Come on, I don't think that's just from the level. I mean, 9-0.
I have to give much of the credit to my team, syempre. I wouldn't have achieved
But
that
much credit
score
to
without-
you because of that KDA.
Thanks for that. Yeah, but we have to remember in the end, league is a team game, and it's very important na you not only work on your individual mechanics, but you also have to work with your team in your macro play. Not have that synergy, not only in game but also outside of the game. You know, you have to get that friendship going.
So
to
friendship.
facilitate. Yeah.
Friendship is power.
Definitely,
Friendship wins
definitely.
games.
Yeah, because with friendship comes the understanding, you know, everything else.
Power of friendship, everyone. You heard it from
Friendship.
Berserk, the mid laner of UPD with a very clean KDA for the last game. Not to mention a clean record entering the group stages and moving on to the semifinals. To everyone here, thank you so much for tuning into the group stages of the LCL. We'll be moving on to the semifinals and expect more competitive level. You hear from Berserk, the godlike LeBlanc player in the last game. So, guys, there you have it. We'll be signing off. I am Vulcan, and joining with me was Berserk, the mid laner of UPD.
Thank you very much.
Population Esports moving into the finals, semifinals.
Okay.
Misses a lot. Misses all his ultimates now for Zerg. Sees this opening. Goes deep. Takes down Antares. And next thing you know, it misses down. That's a double kill. Makes that a kill for Iconic. 3-0. SLU facing a heavy drive. Flash in. Onto the bin. Here comes the Wado from the Lulu. Iconic though still sticking into it. He does get shot down by Vince. That will be a trade-off, but look at Blizzard. He's going in. He's still sticking it onto Antares. He has to back away. The current call is not landing at all. The point will connect onto Blizzard, but no kill will happen. Vince kinda is judged by the wall. Does not connect and slice and die.
Looks like they're not done just yet. Legendary score for Zerg like his last strong and losing into this game, though. It looks like you're actually very, very stealthy. He could jump onto Legos and does exactly that. So, but of course,
there it is, the final clash of the group stages. See it here right now. UPD going in strong, diving those two turrets. The Nexus is exposed, nothing to use. SLU's objectives, tools, everything taken away. UPD ends the group stages with a very clean slate.
Not enough Garena shells to buy the latest League of Legends skin? On sale now? Get shells anytime, anywhere with your Globe or Touch mobile number. Go to gamer.com.ph and sign up with your mobile number and enter the verification code you will receive via SMS. Log in and choose the game and pin you want. Check out to purchase the pin with your load or through your postpaid account and receive the pin on your phone instantly. Never miss a sale on your favorite League of Legends skins and champions with Gamer.